the ones that are really strong, intense low pressure systems.
This is going to be a very intense area of low pressure in all likelihood. What I'm showing you here is the ensemble mean from the European Center's surface pressure forecast. So it's an average of about 50 different runs. And when you average it out over that many options, and you still come up with an intense area of low pressure like this, you know this is a beast. It is going to be strong winds. On the snowy side, we could have blizzard conditions, squall lines, severe weather, all of it in play.
Yeah. And it'll probably be a quarter or a stripe of some really heavy snow, too. I mean, there'll be that sweet spot for snowfall, but just the wind blowing around the snow might take over as the biggest challenge.
That's such a good point. And because it'll be a swath of very heavy snow, but likely maybe narrowly concentrated, again, it's too early to really know where it's going to be. And that's why we show other possible scenarios of the tracks. Because not only did I show you an average of a lot of them together, when you look at the spread, how one varies from the next, you still get different positions of that area of low pressure, and likewise, therefore, different positions of where the heaviest snow is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you think of a track that would be west of Chicago, you're dealing with mostly rain at that point. East of Chicago, you might be in that sweet spot.
Yes. All right, well, what about severe? That's going to be another aspect along with the snow.
Yes, so the snow here starts out, again, this is a swath based on a mean of the forecast. Again, there's wiggle room here. It's going to bobble and weave. As we go through the next few days, you're going to want to turn around. But when we talk about severe weather in the south, and that we'll talk about next time, I think, as well, because that's going to be a big player. But the amount, because this track is going across the Great Lakes, it's going to bring a lot of warm air into the Northeast. Heavy rain and flooding are likely over areas that have a lot of snow on the ground from system number 1 and the beginning of system number 2. We could get some snow in the beginning of this. When we end up this thing maturing over the Great Lakes, it could bring a lot of rain over that snowpack.
Yeah, and even spots that don't have a snowpack, it's just going to be that much rainfall that we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be a blockbuster storm with all the hazards there.
All right, stay tuned. We'll talk more about this here through the day as well. We also want to check in with the cold, and some of it really just depends on exactly where the low tracks. I mean, there's so many complicating factors. In the south, too, I mean, for us, it's going to depend on where do the thunderstorms set up, and, you know, do storms kind of steal the show from other areas?
Absolutely. Well, we don't have to worry about that today. Today looks fantastic across the board, wall-to-wall sunshine out there for us. Maybe a little coolish in Nashville to Little Rock, but overall a nice looking today. But that does begin to change.
Yeah, moisture will be on the increase. By the way, you know, we had so many really nice sunrises and sunsets earlier in the week because of the high clouds ahead of that system. Same thing's going to happen ahead of this. So just there's your sort of nice side to things. You'll get some pretty sunrises and sunsets before this comes in, but by the weekend, this is barreling in.
Yeah, we got the disturbance out there. That's really going to kick our low at the surface. That'll get going here. And again, this will be the one that has the wintry impacts farther to the north. In the southern areas, rain showers, thunderstorms, and again, some of the storms could be strong to even severe.
Yes, so we do have this warm sector we're going to keep an eye on, watching across southern Louisiana, all the way through the Florida Panhandle. That's Friday. Saturday, we do bring in more of Florida and the peninsula. It's not an obvious big severe outbreak or anything, but there's a chance of severe storms.
Absolutely. And of course, with some heavy downpours, we're going to have to watch for some flooding. That's a risk that we face here anywhere in the green from southeastern Texas into Georgia, maybe just south of that 20 corridor. Flash flooding, a real possibility from some of these thunderstorms.
So we time it out for you starting tomorrow. There'll be rain on the move throughout the morning hours. You see it by about before lunchtime throughout Louisiana. New Orleans through the afternoon. Mobile, your ride home on Friday night. It's going to be a soaker. Panama City by evening.
I know, growing up in the D.C. area, I was always peeled to the TV. Are we going to get school canceled or not? And oftentimes not. Because it was always
on Saturdays, though. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Now, there's still some time for the forecast to change. What advice do you have for folks there in Baltimore, the D.C. metro areas, as they prepare for rain or snow?
So it's just a matter of staying on top of things, getting the latest information for the forecast, and being able to plan your day and your family's activities around it.
Yeah, solid advice there. I like that. The most routine, impactful thing that we have to deal with here for so many. Chris Strong, warning coordination meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Baltimore and Washington. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to
getting off to a pretty active note. America's Morning headquarters here, keeping you up to date through the mid-morning hours.
No matter where you live, the Weather Channel has you covered.
That's right. We will get you prepared for what's ahead from coast to coast. Now, these storms are truly coast-to-coast weather makers. This one started in California. This is the first one that goes all the way to the East Coast for your weekend. We got snow here in Soda Springs, California.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's a pretty scene there, right?
We just haven't seen a lot.
We haven't seen a lot of snow in the west this year yet.
Yes.
It's been so warm. Now we're finally getting some. We need that more for the reservoirs to build up during the spring when it dries out.
Yeah, they just did their snow survey for January. 7.5 inches is all they could muster up.
That's not nothing.
They just picked up 10.5 at the measuring site there. So that was certainly some good news. Now we got to watch the next storm coming in here, already making its presence known with a little moisture there in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, Cascades getting in on some of the snow right now. And you can see the forecast. This goes through Sunday. I mean, doing well in the Cascades and the Sierra as well. So adding to the snowpack, good stuff.
I feel like winter is finally here. You know, does it seem like with all the forecasts that we're looking at, when you're talking about a lot more winter showing up the maps than we've seen so far this season?
But
a little
it's
later.
Yeah, it's sometimes it does wait till January, and then it reminds us that we are in winter.
We are here. And we know where our first storm goes.
That's right. We will get you prepared for what's ahead from coast to coast. And these truly are coast-to-coast storms we're talking about. The first one started yesterday in California, bringing snow to Soda Springs.
Something they haven't had to deal with a whole lot here this winter, at least so far. A lot of these systems just have a lot more milder air to work with. So it's been mostly rain. So this is good news.
It's great news because, later on in the season, when we don't get so much precip in the region, the more snowpack we have, the better. It's money in the bank.
So this system then on the move brought a little snow to Mount Charleston, just to the west of Las Vegas. I know folks are excited about that. Now coming through New Mexico, it's snowing in Santa Fe. And so, it's got some snow history to it.
It does. And it's going to have a snow future to it as well.
Right.
We also have some unsettled weather in the northwest. That's kind of setting the stage for the next system for next week. That's going to have a big impact on a wider area across the nation.
And looking at the forecast through early next week and even beyond, you feel like winter is here in earnest. We've had winter here and there, but this is big time.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Well, where our first storm goes.